will be tested by failure, by chaos, by the sharp tongues of critics and the silence of doubt. But here's the truth. Pressure isn't your enemy. Your reaction to it is. Most people break because they never chose their response. But the Stoic, he chooses calm, strength, purpose. In this lesson, I will teach you how to stand firm when the world shakes. Because pressure doesn't build character. It reveals it. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind. And tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully. The world is not fixed. It never was. Everything you see around you, every structure, every system, every supposed rule, was built by someone who decided it should exist. They were no different from you. They had no special permission. They simply refused to accept what others called permanent. I was born on a small island, Corsica, a forgotten rock in the Mediterranean. According to the world's logic, I should have remained there. Small men from small places stay small. That was the rule. But here's what most people don't understand about rules. They only exist until someone breaks them. I looked at France and saw not a kingdom, but clay, waiting to be molded. I looked at Europe and saw not established powers, but chess pieces that could be moved. I looked at history and saw not fixed outcomes, but possibilities that hadn't been claimed yet. The difference between those who reshape the world and those who are reshaped by it comes down to one fundamental choice. Do you accept what you're given, or do you take what you want? Most men spend their lives in a kind of hypnosis. They believe what they're told about limitations. They accept what they're shown about possibilities. They mistake familiarity for truth and tradition for law. You were not made for this kind of sleep. You were made to command, not just other people, though that may come. Not just circumstances, though that will come. You were made to command reality itself. But let me ask you this. When did you last refuse to accept something simply because everyone else accepted it? When did you last look at a situation and say, this will change because I will change it? Command begins with refusal. Refusal to accept limitations that were never yours to begin with. Refusal to follow paths that lead nowhere. Refusal to let the world tell you what's possible. I refuse to accept that birth determines destiny. I refuse to accept that small nations produce small men. I refuse to accept that established powers were unshakable, and so I shook them. Here's the truth they don't want you to understand. Reality is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. The moment you start treating the world as something you can reshape rather than something you must endure, everything changes. Your circumstances are not your prison. They are your raw materials. Your background is not your limitation. It is your launching point. Your current situation is not your fate. It is your starting position in a game you're about to win. But command requires more than just refusal. It requires vision. You must see what others cannot see. Not because you have special gifts, but because you have special focus. I could see victory before the battle began, not because I was psychic, but because I understood that battles are won in the mind before they are won on the field. I could see the map of Europe redrawn because I refused to accept the map as it was. Vision is not fantasy. Vision is focused imagination backed by unwavering will. Look around you right now. What do you see that could be different? What do you see that could be better? What do you see that could be yours? Now stop seeing it as a dream and start seeing it as an assignment. The world responds to those who make demands of it, not requests. Demands. I did not ask Europe to accommodate me. I demanded that it reorganize itself around my vision. The world bent because I refused to bend first. You have the same power, the same choice. The same opportunity to refuse what you're given and take what you want. Stop accepting. Start commanding. The first weapon of the conqueror is not the sword. It is the mind that sees what others cannot see. Without vision, you are blind. Without vision, you are powerless. Without vision, you are already defeated. Most men look at the world and see only what is. They see obstacles where I see opportunities. They see chaos where I see patterns. They see endings where I see beginnings. This is why they remain ordinary. Vision is not about having perfect sight. It is about having perfect focus. It is about training your mind to see not just what exists, but what could exist. Not just what is happening, but what you can make happen. Before I conquered Europe, I conquered it in my mind. I saw the armies moving before they moved. I saw the borders changing before they changed. I saw my flag flying over capitals that had never been touched by foreign hands. But let me ask you this. What do you see when you close your eyes? Do you see your current circumstances, or do you see your future victories? The difference between these two visions is the difference between slavery and freedom. Here's what most people don't understand about vision. It is not passive. It is not daydreaming. It is not wishful thinking. Vision is active. Vision is strategic. Vision is the architect of reality. When I looked at the Austrian army at Austerlitz, I did not see an enemy. I saw a puzzle to be solved. I saw movements to be predicted. I saw weaknesses to be exploited. I saw victory to be claimed. The battle was won before the first shot was fired because I had already fought it in my mind 1,000 times. Your mind is your most powerful weapon. But like any weapon, it must be trained. It must be disciplined. It must be pointed in the right direction. Most people let their minds wander. They let their thoughts drift. They let their imagination run wild without purpose or direction. This is not vision. This is delusion. True vision is focused imagination backed by unwavering will. It is the ability to see your desired outcome so clearly that it becomes inevitable. Look at your life right now. What do you see? Do you see problems or do you see projects? Do you see obstacles or do you see stepping stones? Do you see your current position or do you see your next move? The world belongs to those who can see it differently. I saw France, not as a kingdom in chaos, but as an empire waiting to be born. I saw the Mediterranean not as a barrier, but as a highway. I saw the Alps not as an impossible wall, but as a challenge to be conquered, and so I crossed them. But here's what separates true vision from mere fantasy: execution. Vision without action is just a dream. Action without vision is just motion. You need both. Your vision must be so clear that it pulls you forward, so compelling that it makes your current circumstances unacceptable, so powerful that it transforms hesitation into momentum. Every great achievement began as a vision in someone's mind. Every empire, every discovery, every revolution started with someone who could see what others could not see. The airplane existed in the Wright brothers' minds before it existed in the sky. The telephone existed in Bell's mind before it existed in the world. The empire existed in my mind before it existed on the map. What exists in your mind that does not yet exist in the world, this is your assignment. This is your mission. This is your calling. Stop looking at the world as it is and start seeing it as it could be. Stop accepting what you're given and start creating what you want. Your imagination is not entertainment. It is your blueprint for reality. Your dreams are not escapes from the world. They are maps for conquering it. Your vision is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Without it, you are just another person being shaped by circumstances. With it, you become the one who shapes them. The seed of all power is vision. Plant it carefully. Water it consistently. Protect it fiercely. And then watch as the world reorganizes itself around what you have chosen to see. Indecision is weakness in disguise. Hesitation is defeat wearing a mask. The world does not wait for you to be ready. It does not pause while you gather more information. It does not slow down while you weigh your options. The world moves at the speed of decision. I have watched armies collapse not from enemy fire, but from their own uncertainty. I have seen kingdoms fall not from invasion, but from indecision. I have witnessed men destroy themselves not through action, but through endless deliberation. Certainty is the rarest form of strength, because most men mistake it for arrogance. They confuse confidence with recklessness. They believe that doubt is wisdom and hesitation is prudence. They are wrong. Doubt is paralysis. Hesitation is surrender. Uncertainty is the enemy of achievement. When I crossed the Rubicon, when I made the decision that would change everything, I did not have all the information. I did not know all the outcomes. I did not see all the consequences, but I knew enough. Here's what most people don't understand about decision-making. You will never have perfect information. You will never see all the variables. You will never eliminate all the risks. Waiting for certainty is waiting forever. The moment you have enough information to make a good decision, you make it. You move. You commit. You burn the bridges behind you so that retreat becomes impossible. This is not recklessness. This is strategy. But let me ask you this. How many opportunities have you lost while gathering more information? How many victories have slipped away while you waited for the perfect moment? How many dreams have died while you tried to make the safe choice? Certainty is not about having all the answers. It is about being willing to find them as you go. I did not know how to conquer Europe when I started. I learned by doing. I adapted as I advanced. I solved problems as they arose, but I never stopped moving. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates opportunities. Opportunities create victories. The most dangerous moment in any campaign is not when you are losing. It is when you are standing still. Standing still makes you a target. Standing still makes you predictable. Standing still makes you irrelevant. Your competitors are not waiting. Your opportunities are not pausing. Your potential is not holding its breath while you make up your mind. Every moment you spend in indecision is a moment your enemies spend in preparation. Look at your life right now. What decision have you been avoiding? What choice have you been delaying? What commitment have you been refusing to make? That hesitation is costing you more than any mistake ever could. Mistakes can be corrected. Missed opportunities cannot be recovered. I made mistakes, many of them, but I made them while moving forward, not while standing still. I learned from failure, but I never learned to fear it. Fear of making the wrong decision is more destructive than making the wrong decision. At least, wrong decisions teach you something. Indecision teaches you nothing except how to waste time. Here's the truth about certainty. It is not a feeling you wait for. It is a choice you make. You choose to be certain. You choose to move forward. You choose to commit to your path even when you cannot see the destination. This does not mean you ignore information. It means you do not let information become an excuse for inaction. This does not mean you dismiss risks. It means you do not let risks become reasons for retreat. This does not mean you act blindly. It means you act boldly. The world respects decisive action more than perfect planning. Results matter more than reasons. Outcomes matter more than explanations. When I made the decision to crown myself emperor, half of Europe thought I was mad. The other half thought I was finished, but I was certain. Not certain that I would succeed, certain that I would try. Not certain of the outcome, certain of my commitment to achieve it. That certainty became my strength. That strength became my power. That power became my empire. Your greatest victories are waiting on the other side of your next decision. Stop gathering information and start making choices. Stop preparing for action and start taking it. Stop waiting for certainty and start creating it. The world belongs to those who move while others hesitate. The future belongs to those who decide while others deliberate. Be certain of this. Uncertainty is your enemy. Certainty is your weapon. Use it. While others prepare, you act. While others plan, you execute. While others wait for permission, you create results. Fortune favors the bold, not the careful. The world is full of men who are getting ready to get ready. They are preparing to prepare. They are planning to plan. They live their entire lives in the waiting room of their own potential. This is not strategy. This is cowardice. I did not wait for France to invite me to lead it. I seized leadership when leadership was needed. I did not wait for Europe to accept my authority. I imposed my authority until acceptance became irrelevant. The moment you start waiting, you start losing. Here's what most people don't understand about timing. The perfect moment is a myth. The right time is a lie. The ideal conditions are an excuse. There is only now. There is only today. There is only this moment when you choose to move or choose to remain still. I conquered Italy not when the conditions were perfect, but when the opportunity was present. I crossed the Alps not when the weather was ideal, but when the advantage was available. I rebuilt France not when the foundation was stable, but when the need was urgent. Waiting for perfect conditions is waiting for conditions that will never come. But let me ask you this. What are you waiting for? What permission do you need that you do not already have? What sign are you looking for that has not already appeared? The world does not owe you perfect timing. It owes you nothing except the opportunity to prove yourself, and that opportunity is always now. Speed is a weapon. Urgency is a strategy. Action is the only currency the world accepts. While your competitors are analyzing, you are advancing. While your enemies are consulting, you are conquering. While others are deciding, you are doing. This is how battles are won. This is how empires are built. This is how legends are born, not through careful planning, though planning has its place, not through perfect preparation, though preparation has its value, through relentless, immediate, decisive action when action is needed. I rose to power not because I was the most qualified candidate, but because I was the only candidate who refused to wait for qualification. I reshaped Europe not because I had permission, but because I stopped asking for it. Permission is for children. Results are for conquerors. The world respects results. It does not respect intentions. It does not respect preparations. It does not respect explanations about why you are not ready. It respects only what you achieve and how quickly you achieve it. Look at every great victory in history. None of them happened because someone waited for the perfect moment. They happened because someone recognized that any moment could become the perfect moment if you made it so. The Americans did not wait for ideal conditions to declare independence. They declared it when declaration was necessary. The French did not wait for perfect circumstances to revolt. They revolted when revolution was required. I did not wait for France to stabilize before taking control. I took control and then stabilized it. This is the pattern of power. This is the rhythm of reality. This is the heartbeat of history. Action first. Perfection later. Movement first. Mastery follows. Results first. Recognition comes after. Your dreams are not getting younger while you prepare. Your opportunities are not growing stronger while you wait. Your potential is not becoming more powerful while you hesitate. Time is the only resource you cannot replace. Energy is the only asset you cannot store. Momentum is the only force you cannot pause. Use them now or lose them forever. Every day you delay is a day your competition advances. Every week you postpone is a week your opportunities diminish. Every month you wait is a month your power weakens. The world is not patient with those who are patient with themselves. Here's the truth about readiness. You become ready by beginning, not before beginning. You develop confidence through action, not through analysis. You gain confidence by doing, not by thinking about doing. I learned to command armies by commanding them. I learned to govern nations by governing them. I learned to reshape the world by refusing to wait for someone else to reshape it first. Your education begins the moment you start. Your expertise develops as you engage. Your mastery emerges through momentum, but none of this happens while you wait. The world obeys those who refuse to wait, because waiting is the language of weakness, and action is the language of strength. Stop waiting for readiness and start creating it through action. Stop preparing for opportunities and start seizing them as they appear. Stop getting ready for your moment and start making every moment your moment. The future belongs to those who move now. You must stop reacting. You must start reshaping. Passive men are forgotten. Commanders are remembered. The difference between those who shape history and those who are shaped by it is simple. One group waits to see what happens. The other group decides what happens most. Men live their lives as spectators. They watch events unfold. They react to circumstances. They respond to conditions that other men create. This is not living. This is surviving. I did not react to the chaos of the French Revolution. I used it. I did not respond to the instability of Europe. I exploited it. I did not adapt to the circumstances of my time. I created the circumstances of my time. Reality is not a fixed thing that happens to you. Reality is a flexible thing that you shape with your will, your vision, and your action. But here's what most people don't understand. The moment you start reacting, you surrender control. The moment you start responding to other people's agendas, you abandon your own agenda. You become their tool instead of them becoming yours. I made other kings react to me. I made other armies respond to my movements. I made other nations adapt to my strategies. This is the position of power. This is the place of control. This is the seat of command. But let me ask you this. Are you creating the conditions of your life, or are you just responding to them? Are you setting the agenda, or are you following someone else's agenda? Are you making things happen, or are you just watching things happen? The world is divided into two types of people: those who make things happen and those who wonder what happened, those who create events and those who react to events, those who shape reality and those who are shaped by reality. Which type are you? Your circumstances are not your destiny. They are your raw materials. Your situation is not your prison. It is your workshop. Your challenges are not your limitations. They are your opportunities to demonstrate your power. When France was in chaos, I did not wait for someone else to bring order. I brought order. When Europe was in conflict, I did not wait for someone else to bring peace. I imposed peace on my terms. When you see a problem, you do not wait for someone else to solve it. You solve it. When you see an opportunity, you do not wait for someone else to seize it. You seize it. When you see a possibility, you do not wait for someone else to make it real. You make it real. This is how you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the author of circumstances. Reality responds to force, not physical force, though sometimes that is necessary. The force of will, the force of vision, the force of relentless action directed toward a specific outcome. Most people apply force randomly. They push here and there without strategy. They work hard without working smart. They exhaust themselves without achieving anything. This is not force. This is flailing. True force is focused. It is concentrated. It is applied at exactly the right point to achieve exactly the right result. When I attacked my enemies, I did not attack everywhere at once. I attacked where they were weakest. I concentrated my strength against their weakness. I applied maximum force at the minimum point of resistance. This is how you bend reality to your will. You do not fight every battle. You fight the battles that matter. You do not solve every problem. You solve the problems that unlock other solutions. You do not seize every opportunity. You seize the opportunities that create other opportunities. Strategic force applied with precision creates disproportionate results. Look at your life right now. Where are you applying force? Are you pushing against immovable objects, or are you finding the points of maximum leverage? Are you working harder, or are you working smarter? The world rewards those who understand how to apply force efficiently. It punishes those who waste energy on irrelevant activities. Your energy is limited. Your time is finite. Your attention is precious. Use them strategically. Use them purposefully. Use them to create the reality you want instead of just reacting to the reality you have. Here's the truth about making things happen. It requires you to stop waiting for things to happen to you. It requires you to stop hoping that circumstances will change and start changing circumstances. It requires you to stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the driver. I did not wait for history to make room for me. I made room for Myself in history. I did not wait for the world to recognize my authority. I established my authority and forced the world to recognize it. You have the same power. You have the same choice. You have the same opportunity to stop reacting and start creating. Reality is not what happens to you. Reality is what you make happen. Stop reacting. Start reshaping. The world is waiting for you to claim your power. You were taught boundaries by men who never tested them. Now, break them. One by one. Every limit you accept without testing becomes a prison you build for yourself. Every boundary you respect without questioning becomes a wall between you and your potential. Most of the limits in your life are not real. They are inherited. They are assumed. They are accepted without investigation. They are lies. I was told that artillery officers could not become generals. I became emperor. I was told that Corsicans could not rule France. I ruled Europe. I was told that small men could not command tall armies. I commanded the Grande Armée. Every limit was a lie waiting to be exposed. Here's what most people don't understand about limitations. They exist only as long as you believe in them. The moment you stop believing, they stop existing. But belief is not enough. You must test your disbelief through action. I did not just disbelieve in the impossibility of crossing the Alps. I crossed them. I did not just disbelieve in the permanence of European borders. I redrew them. I did not just disbelieve in the limits of human achievement. I exceeded them. The world is full of people who will tell you what cannot be done. Usually, these are people who have never tried to do it themselves. But let me ask you this. When did you last test a limit instead of accepting it? When did you last push against a boundary instead of respecting it? When did you last try something you were told was impossible? Limits are not facts. They are opinions. They are not truths. They are beliefs. They are not laws of nature. They are habits of thought, and habits can be changed. The 4-minute mile was impossible until Roger Bannister ran it in 3:59. Then suddenly dozens of runners broke the 4-minute barrier within months. The limit was never physical. It was mental. Powered flight was impossible until the Wright brothers achieved it. Space travel was impossible until we reached the moon. Instant global communication was impossible until we created the Internet. What we call impossible today becomes inevitable tomorrow when someone refuses to accept the impossibility. Your limits are not different. They are not special. They are not more real than the limits that others have already broken. They are simply waiting for you to break them. Most limits fall into 3 categories: physical limits, mental limits, and social limits. Physical limits are the most honest. Your body has actual constraints, but even these limits are higher than most people assume. The human body is capable of far more than the human mind typically demands of it. Mental limits are the most dangerous. These are the limits you place on your own thinking, the boundaries you draw around your own possibilities, the ceilings you build over your own potential. Social limits are the most artificial. These are the limits that other people try to place on you, the expectations they have of what you can and cannot achieve based on who you are, where you come from, or what you have done before. All 3 types of limits can be expanded. All 3 types of boundaries can be pushed. All 3 types of barriers can be broken, but only if you are willing to test them. I expanded the physical limits of warfare by moving armies faster and farther than anyone thought possible. I shattered the mental limits of leadership by thinking strategically on a scale that no one had imagined before. I destroyed the social limits of class and birth by rising from artillery officer to emperor. None of these limits were as solid as they appeared to be. Look at your own life. What limits have you accepted without testing? What boundaries have you respected without questioning? What barriers have you assumed were permanent? These are your targets. These are your assignments. These are your opportunities to prove to yourself that most limits are lies. Start with the smallest limit. Test it. Push against it. See what happens when you refuse to respect it. You will discover that many limits dissolve the moment you stop believing in them. Then move to the next limit, and the next, and the next. Each limit you break makes you stronger. Each boundary you cross makes you braver. Each barrier you shatter makes you more confident in your power to break the next one. This is not recklessness. This is research. This is not rebellion. This is discovery. This is not destruction. This is expansion. You are not breaking limits to hurt anyone. You are breaking them to free yourself. The world needs people who refuse to accept artificial limitations. It needs people who push against unnecessary boundaries. It needs people who test assumptions that everyone else takes for granted. Here's the truth about limits. Most of them exist to keep ordinary people ordinary. They are not designed to contain extraordinary people. You are not ordinary. You never were. You never will be. The limits that apply to ordinary people do not apply to you. The boundaries that contain average achievers do not contain you. The barriers that stop typical performers do not stop you unless you choose to let them. Most limits are lies, but they become truth the moment you stop testing them. Test them, break them, prove them wrong. Your potential is waiting on the other side of every limit you refuse to accept. You don't bend the world by talking. You bend it by deciding and then doing. Words without will are noise. Declarations without determination are empty theater. Promises without power are lies you tell yourself and others. The world is full of people who talk about what they're going to do. They announce their intentions. They declare their goals. They make grand statements about their future achievements. Then, they do nothing, or worse, they mistake the talking for the doing. I did not conquer Europe through speeches. I conquered it through strategy, speed, and relentless execution. I did not become emperor through eloquence. I became emperor through action, backed by unbreakable will. Words are tools, but will is the hand that wields them. Here's what most people don't understand about will. It is not a feeling. It is not motivation. It is not inspiration. Will is a decision that you make once and then honor forever, regardless of how you feel. Motivation comes and goes. Inspiration rises and falls. Feelings change with the weather and the time of day, but will remains constant. Will endures. Will persists when everything else fails. I did not feel like marching my army through the Russian winter. I did not feel inspired while retreating from Moscow. I did not feel motivated when everything seemed lost. But my will to survive, to rebuild, to return stronger than before, that never wavered, that never weakened, that carried me through defeat to eventual victory. Your will must be sharper than your words because words can be ignored, but will cannot be denied. But let me ask you this. How many times have you announced goals that you never achieved? How many times have you made promises to yourself that you never kept? How many times have you declared intentions that you never acted upon? Each broken promise weakens your will. Each abandoned goal diminishes your power. Each unfulfilled declaration teaches you that your own words cannot be trusted. This is how you train yourself to fail. Strong will requires strong discipline. Not just the discipline to do what you said you would do, but the discipline to stop. Saying things you will not do. Speak less, do more. Promise less, deliver more, declare less, achieve more. Your reputation with yourself is your most valuable asset. Guard it carefully, build it slowly, honor it completely. When you make a commitment to yourself, keep it. When you set a deadline for yourself, meet it. When you establish a standard for yourself, maintain it. This is how you develop the kind of will that reshapes reality. Most people make commitments based on how they feel in the moment. They set goals when they feel inspired. They make promises when they feel confident. They establish plans when they feel motivated. Then, when the feeling changes, they abandon the commitment. This is not will. This is whim. True, will transcends feeling. It operates independently of emotion. It functions regardless of circumstance. I made the decision to conquer Europe when I felt powerful. I maintained that commitment when I felt weak. I pursued that goal when I felt confident and when I felt uncertain. I honored that vision when I felt inspired and when I felt exhausted. The decision remained constant, even when the feelings changed. Look at your own commitments. How many of them depend on how you feel? How many of your goals require you to be motivated? How many of your plans assume you will always feel like following them? These are not commitments. These are wishes. Real commitments are independent of feeling. Real goals are pursued regardless of motivation. Real plans are executed whether you feel like it or not. This is what separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who achieve ordinary results. Extraordinary achievers have ordinary feelings but extraordinary will. They feel lazy sometimes, but they work anyway. They feel uncertain sometimes, but they move forward anyway. They feel discouraged sometimes, but they persist anyway. Their will is stronger than their feelings. Their commitment is deeper than their moods. Their determination is more powerful than their emotions. This is the secret that ordinary achievers never learn. They wait for the right feeling before taking action. They postpone commitment until they feel ready. They delay execution until they feel inspired. They never feel ready enough. They never feel inspired enough. They never feel motivated enough, so they never achieve enough. Your will must be sharper than your words because words are cheap and will is expensive. Anyone can talk about what they're going to do. Few people have the will to actually do it. Stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. Stop making promises you might not keep and start keeping promises you have already made. Your will is your word, made manifest. Your determination is your declaration, made real. Your commitment is your conversation with reality. Make sure reality can trust what you say. Make sure your actions match your announcements. Make sure your will is sharper than your words. The world respects those who do what they say they will do. It follows those whose will cannot be broken. It bends to those whose commitment cannot be questioned. Sharpen your will. Honor your word. Let your actions speak louder than your announcements. The loudest declarations mean nothing without force behind them. Execution is your proof of power. Authority is not given. It is not inherited. It is not appointed. Authority is earned through action and maintained through results. I did not become emperor because France voted for me. I became emperor because I proved I could lead France better than anyone else could. I did not gain authority through titles. I gained titles through authority. The world does not care about your credentials. It does not care about your education. It does not care about your background, or your connections, or your intentions. The world cares about results, and results come only through action. Here's what most people don't understand about authority. It is not something you claim. It is something you demonstrate. It is not something you announce. It is something you prove. You cannot talk your way into authority. You cannot think your way into authority. You cannot plan your way into authority. You can only act your way into authority. But let me ask you this. What authority are you trying to claim through words that you should be earning through actions? What power are you trying to assert through arguments that you should be proving through achievements? The world is full of people who believe they deserve authority because of who they are. They point to their qualifications. They reference their experience. They cite their knowledge, but authority based on what you know is weaker than authority based on what you do. I knew how to win battles because I had won battles. I knew how to lead armies because I had led armies successfully. I knew how to govern nations because I had governed nations effectively. My authority came from my track record, not from my theories. Every action you take either builds your authority or diminishes it. Every result you produce either strengthens your credibility or weakens it. Every commitment you fulfill either increases your power or decreases it. This is why action is so important. This is why execution is so critical. This is why results matter more than reasons. Your reputation is built one action at a time. Your credibility is established one result at a time. Your authority is earned one achievement at a time, but it can all be lost through one failure to act when action is required. The moment you hesitate when decisive action is needed, you lose authority. The moment you make excuses when results are expected, you lose credibility. The moment you avoid responsibility when leadership is required, you lose respect. Authority is fragile. It must be protected through consistent action and reliable results. Look at the leaders you respect most. What makes them worthy of respect? Is it what they say or what they do? Is it their promises or their performance? Is it their intentions or their achievements? Real authority always comes from real results. This is why talk is cheap and action is expensive. Anyone can make promises. Anyone can announce intentions. Anyone can declare goals, but few people can deliver on their promises. Few people can fulfill their intentions. Few people can achieve their goals. Those who can, those who consistently turn words into actions and actions into results, these are the people who earn real authority in the world. The world respects those who do what they say they will do. It follows those who can be counted on to perform when performance is needed. It trusts those who have proven themselves through consistent action over time. This is not about perfection. This is about reliability. This is not about never failing. This is about always trying. This is not about being invincible. This is about being accountable. I made mistakes. I suffered defeats. I experienced failures, but I never stopped acting. I never stopped trying. I never stopped taking responsibility for results. This is what maintained my authority even through temporary setbacks. Your authority is not destroyed by failure. It is destroyed by inaction. It is not weakened by mistakes. It is weakened by excuses. It is not diminished by setbacks. It is diminished by surrender. The world forgives those who fail while trying. It does not forgive those who fail to try. Here's the truth about authority. It is not a position you hold. It is a power you wield, and you can only wield it through action. Stop trying to claim authority through words and start earning it through actions. Stop demanding respect through arguments and start commanding it through achievements. Stop telling the world what you can do and start showing it what you will do. Every time you act decisively when others hesitate, you gain authority. Every time you produce results when others make excuses, you build credibility. Every time you take responsibility when others avoid it, you earn respect. Action is the only language of authority that the world understands. Speak it fluently. Speak it consistently. Speak it powerfully. Let your actions be so loud that your words become unnecessary. The world is waiting to see what you will do, not what you will say. No one will give you power. You take it, you declare it, and you justify it with results. Permission is the language of slaves. Authorization is the vocabulary of the weak. Approval is the currency of those who will never achieve anything significant. I did not ask Europe for permission to reshape it. I did not request authorization to crown myself emperor. I did not seek approval to rewrite the rules of warfare. Simply did what needed to be done and let the world adjust to the new reality I had created. This is how power works. This is how change happens. This is how history is made, not by asking for permission, but by making permission irrelevant. Here's what most people don't understand about permission. Waiting for it is a form of surrender. Seeking it is an admission of weakness. Requiring it is a guarantee of mediocrity. The people who have the power to give you permission are the same people who benefit from you not having power. Why would they give you what they want to keep for themselves? But let me ask you this. What are you waiting for permission to do? What goal are you postponing until someone else approves? What dream are you delaying until the world gives you? Authorization, that permission will never come. That approval will never arrive. That authorization will never be granted. Because those who have achieved great things did not wait for permission. They gave themselves permission. and then proved. They deserved it. Permission is not required for excellence. It is not necessary for achievement. It is not a prerequisite for success. Permission is only required for comfort, for safety, for the guarantee that if you fail, you can blame someone else because they told you it was okay to try. But comfort is the enemy of greatness. Safety is the opponent of achievement. Guarantees are the killers of dreams. You do not need permission to work harder than everyone else. You do not need authorization to think bigger than your circumstances. You do not need approval to pursue goals that others consider impossible. You need only the courage to begin and the determination to continue. I gave myself permission to study the great military commanders of history. I gave myself permission to reimagine the strategies of warfare. I gave myself permission to envision myself as emperor before anyone else could envision it. That self-granted permission became self-fulfilling prophecy. Look at every great achievement in human history. Did the Wright brothers ask for permission to fly? Did Edison ask for permission to light the world? Did Columbus ask for permission to discover new continents? They moved forward without permission and created results that made permission unnecessary. This is the pattern of power. This is the rhythm of revolution. This is the heartbeat of progress. You act first, you prove second. You ask for forgiveness later if necessary, but you never ask for permission first. Most people reverse this order. They ask for permission first, then they wait for approval, then they consider acting, then they make excuses about why they never achieved anything. This is why most people achieve nothing worth remembering. The world does not reward those who wait for permission. It rewards those who make permission irrelevant through superior results. Your competitors are not waiting for permission. Your opportunities are not pausing for authorization. Your potential is not holding its breath until someone gives you approval. Every moment you spend seeking permission is a moment your enemies spend gaining advantage. Here's the truth about permission. It is not about protecting you from failure. It is about protecting others from your success. When you succeed without permission, you prove that permission was never necessary. When you achieve without authorization, you demonstrate that authorization was never required. When you excel without approval, you show that approval was never relevant. This threatens those who built their power on controlling permission, authorization, and approval. They want you to believe you need their consent because your independence threatens their control. But you do not need their consent. You never did. You never will. You need only your own commitment to excellence and your own determination to achieve it. Stop asking for permission to pursue your goals and start pursuing them. Stop seeking authorization to use your talents and start using them. Stop waiting for approval to live your life and start living it. The world will adjust to your new reality much faster than you think. Success has a way of creating its own authorization. Achievement has a way of generating its own approval. Results have a way of making permission retroactively irrelevant. Remove permission from your vocabulary. Replace it with determination. Replace it with action. Replace it with results. The only permission you need is the permission you give yourself. Grant it now. Use it immediately. Justify it with achievements that make everyone glad you never asked for permission in the first place. You are not here to seek permission. You are here to create results so powerful that permission becomes meaningless. Stop asking. Start achieving. Most challenges are not walls. They're tests. You don't go around them. You go through them. Every obstacle in your path is there for one reason: to determine how badly you want what lies beyond it, to measure the strength of your will, to test the depth of your commitment. Obstacles are not punishments. They are not barriers designed to stop you. They are filters designed to eliminate those who want success less than they fear difficulty. The Alps were not built to stop armies from crossing them. They were built to stop armies whose will to cross was weaker than their fear of the crossing. Crossed them anyway. Here's what most people don't understand about obstacles. They are not permanent features of reality. They are temporary tests of determination. They yield to superior will just as surely as ice yields to persistent heat. But you must apply that will consistently, relentlessly, and without compromise. Most people encounter an obstacle and immediately begin looking for ways around it. They seek the path of least resistance. They search for shortcuts. They hope for easier alternatives. This is exactly the wrong approach. But let me ask you this. What obstacle have you been trying to avoid instead of confronting? What challenge have you been hoping would disappear instead of preparing to overcome? What difficulty have you been running from instead of running toward? Every obstacle you avoid makes you weaker. Every challenge you circumvent diminishes your power. Every difficulty you run from reduces your capacity to handle the next one. But every obstacle you confront directly makes you stronger. Every challenge you meet head-on increases your confidence. Every difficulty you overcome expands your belief in what you can achieve. Obstacles are not your enemies. They are your training equipment. They are not punishments for wanting success. They are preparation for handling success. The bigger your goals, the bigger your obstacles will be. The greater your ambitions, the greater your challenges will become. The more significant your dreams, the more significant your difficulties will be. This is not coincidence. This is design. The universe does not hand over great achievements to those who cannot handle great challenges. It does not grant extraordinary results to those who can only manage ordinary difficulties. It tests you first. It measures your will. It evaluates your determination. It assesses your commitment. If you pass the test, you earn the prize. If you fail the test, you get to take it again until you pass. But you do not get to skip the test. I was tested by poverty. I was tested by obscurity. I was tested by powerful enemies. I was tested by impossible odds. I was tested by betrayal and defeat and exile. Each test made me stronger. Each challenge increased my capacity. Each obstacle proved that my will was stronger than any force that could be brought against it. This is how you develop the kind of will that reshapes reality. Look at the obstacles in your life right now. Stop seeing them as problems to be avoided and start seeing them as problems to be solved. Stop viewing them as barriers to your success and start viewing them as building blocks of your character. Stop asking why they exist and start asking what they are trying to teach you. Every obstacle contains a lesson about power. Every challenge reveals something about strategy. Every difficulty exposes an area where your skills need development. The obstacle is not the enemy. Ignorance is the enemy. The challenge is not the problem. Weakness is the problem. The difficulty is not the barrier. Fear is the barrier. Master the lesson and the obstacle dissolves. Develop the skill and the challenge becomes manageable. Overcome the fear and the difficulty becomes opportunity. Here's the truth about obstacles. They are only as strong as your belief in their permanence. They are only as insurmountable as your commitment to avoiding them. They are only as powerful as your willingness to be defeated by them. But will is stronger than any obstacle. Determination is more powerful than any challenge. Persistence is more enduring than any difficulty. The question is not whether you can overcome the obstacles in your path. The question is whether you will choose to overcome them. Some obstacles require intelligence to solve. Others require creativity to navigate. Others require strength to remove. Others require patience to outlast. All obstacles require will to overcome. Your will must be stronger than the obstacle, or the obstacle will be stronger than your dream. Most obstacles are weaker than they appear. Most challenges are less difficult than they seem. Most difficulties are more manageable than they look, but they all require the same thing, the decision to go through them instead of around them. Stop looking for easy paths and start building the strength to handle difficult ones. Stop seeking shortcuts and start developing the stamina for long journeys. Stop hoping obstacles will disappear and start developing the skills to make them irrelevant. The obstacle is the way. The challenge is the path. The difficulty is the door. Go through it. You do not wait for applause, you move first. Applause comes later, after you've won. Consensus is the enemy of progress. Committee decisions are the death of innovation. Waiting for everyone to agree is waiting for nothing to happen. Great achievements are never born from group decisions. Revolutionary ideas are never created by consensus. History-changing actions are never taken by committees. They are conceived by individuals who move without waiting for permission, agreement, or approval from anyone else. I did not wait for France to agree that I should lead it. I led it and let agreement follow. I did not wait for Europe to consent to my vision of reorganization. I reorganized it and let consent catch up. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create followers, but it all begins with the decision to move alone if necessary. Here's what most people don't understand about consensus. It is not a tool for making good decisions. It is a tool for making safe decisions. It is not a method for achieving excellence. It is a method for avoiding responsibility. When everyone agrees, no one is responsible for the outcome. When everyone decides, no one can be blamed for failure. But this safety comes at a price. The price is mediocrity. The price is delay. The price is missed opportunities and unrealized potential. But let me ask you this. How many of your goals are waiting for consensus that will never come? How many of your dreams are delayed by committees that will never decide? How many of your opportunities are dying while you wait for agreement that will never materialize? Consensus is not just unlikely. It is impossible. There will always be someone who disagrees. There will always be someone who is not ready. There will always be someone who wants to wait longer, study more, or consider alternatives. If you wait for universal agreement, you will wait forever. The world belongs to those who move while others debate. The future belongs to those who act while others analyze. Success belongs to those who decide while others deliberate. But movement alone is not enough. You need the right kind of movement. You need momentum. Momentum is movement with purpose. It is action with direction. It is progress. With power behind it, random movement creates chaos. Purposeful movement creates momentum. And momentum is the most powerful force in human achievement. When you have momentum, obstacles become stepping stones. When you have momentum, resistance becomes fuel. When you have momentum, setbacks become setups for comebacks. I built momentum by winning small battles before attempting large ones. I created momentum by achieving visible results that attracted followers. I maintained momentum by never allowing defeat to become permanent or victory to become an excuse for rest. Momentum must be built intentionally. It must be maintained consistently. It must be protected fiercely. Look at your own life. Where do you have momentum? Where are you making consistent progress toward meaningful goals? Where are your actions building on each other to create increasing power and accelerating results? And where are you waiting for consensus instead of building momentum? Momentum begins with a single action taken without consensus. It grows through consistent actions taken regardless of opposition. It becomes unstoppable through persistent actions taken despite setbacks. You do not need consensus to begin. You need only the courage to take the first step without knowing who will follow. Most people will not follow until they see where you are going. They will not join until they see that you are winning. They will not support until they see that support is the smart choice. This means you must be willing to move alone initially. You must be prepared to act without support early. You must be ready to lead without followers at first. This is not loneliness. This is leadership. Every great leader began by leading no one but themselves. Every great movement began with a single person moving. Every great achievement began with someone deciding to achieve it regardless of who agreed. Here's the truth about consensus. It is not necessary for beginning. It is only necessary for scaling. You do not need consensus to start. You need only results to attract it. Move first, win early, build momentum. Then watch as consensus forms around your success. People do not join losing causes, but they rush to join winning ones. They do not support uncertain outcomes, but they fight to be part of inevitable victories. Make your success inevitable through momentum and consensus will take care of itself. Stop waiting for everyone to agree that you should pursue your goals. Start pursuing them and let agreement follow your achievements. Stop seeking consensus for your vision. Start building momentum toward your vision and let consensus catch up. The world does not follow those who wait for followers. It follows those who move with such power and purpose that following becomes the only intelligent option. You don't need consensus. You need momentum. Build it. Maintain it. Use it to create results so compelling that consensus becomes automatic. Move first. Win early. Let applause follow achievement. Your surroundings are not neutral. You shape them, or they shape you. There is no middle ground. There is no passive coexistence. There is no staying the same while everything around you changes. You're either actively molding your environment to support your goals, or your environment is passively molding you to accept its limitations. Most people believe they are victims of their circumstances. They point to their background, their resources, their connections, their opportunities, or lack thereof, as explanations for their results. This is exactly backward. Your environment is not your excuse. It is your assignment. It is not your limitation. It is your raw material. It is not your prison. It is your workshop. I was born on a small island to a miner family with modest means. According to environmental determinism, I should have remained small, minor, and modest. Instead, I used that environment as fuel for ambition rather than as an excuse for limitation. Here's what most people don't understand about environment. It responds to will more than will responds to environment. It adapts to vision more than vision adapts to it. It yields to determination more than determination yields to it. But you must apply that will consistently. You must pursue that vision relentlessly. You must maintain that determination permanently. Environment is not fixed. It is fluid. It changes constantly in response to the forces applied to it. The question is not whether your environment will change. The question is who will control that change. But let me ask you this. Are you actively shaping your environment, or are you passively accepting it? Are you creating conditions that support your success, or are you adapting to conditions that guarantee your failure? Look around you right now. What in your environment supports your goals? What opposes them? What accelerates your progress? What slows it down? Now ask yourself, what are you doing to increase the supportive elements and decrease the opposing ones? Most people accept their environment as given. They work around it. They adapt to it. They make the best of it. This is not strategy. This is surrender. True strategy involves reshaping your environment so that it works for you instead of against you. It involves creating conditions that make your success more likely and your failure less possible. I did not accept the military environment I inherited. I transformed it. I did not adapt to the political environment I found. I revolutionized it. I did not make the best of the international environment that existed. I created a new one. This is how you stop being shaped by your circumstances and start shaping them. Environment includes more than just physical space. It includes the people around you, the information you consume, the conversations you have, the expectations others have of you, and the standards you accept as normal. All of these elements can be modified. All of them can be improved. All of them can be aligned with your goals instead of opposing them. The people around you either support your growth or hinder it. Choose them carefully. The information you consume either expands your possibilities or limits them. Select it strategically. The conversations you have either inspire you to achieve more or convince you to settle for less. Control them intentionally. The expectations others have of you either challenge you to rise higher or enable you to remain mediocre. Influence them actively. The standards you accept as normal either push you toward excellence or pull you toward average. Set them consciously. None of these environmental factors are beyond your influence. None of them are permanent fixtures. None of them are more powerful than your will to change them. But changing your environment requires more than hoping it will improve. It requires deliberate action, taken consistently over time. You must remove negative influences and replace them with positive ones. You must eliminate energy drains and substitute energy sources. You must stop exposing yourself to forces that weaken you and start surrounding yourself with forces that strengthen you. This is not about creating perfect conditions. Perfect conditions do not exist. This is about creating optimal conditions, given your current resources and constraints. Here's the truth about environment. It is always changing anyway. It never remains static. It never stays the same. The question is whether you will direct that change or simply react to it. Most environmental change happens slowly and subtly. People adjust to it gradually without realizing how much influence it has on their thoughts, their decisions, and their results. But conscious environmental design happens quickly and obviously. You decide what changes need to be made. You implement those changes immediately. You monitor the results and adjust accordingly. You become the architect of your own environment instead of the victim of random environmental forces. Look at the most successful people in any field. They do not leave their environment to chance. They design it deliberately, they modify it continuously, they optimize it constantly. They understand that environment is not something that happens to them. It is something they create for themselves. Your current environment is the result of past decisions. Your future environment will be the result of current decisions. Decide consciously. Design intentionally. Build strategically. Stop accepting your environment as given and start creating it. As chosen, mold it before it molds you. Your mind must follow orders, and your habits must march like soldiers. Without discipline, you are powerless. Without discipline, you are unreliable. Without discipline, you are merely reacting to whatever force is strongest in the moment. Discipline is not restriction. It is freedom. It is not limitation. It is liberation. It is not punishment. It is power. Discipline is the engine that transforms intention into action, plans into results, dreams into reality. Most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as rigid adherence to rules. They view it as the enemy of creativity and spontaneity. They believe it requires constant struggle against their natural desires. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. True discipline is not about fighting against yourself. It is about training yourself. It is not about suppressing your desires. It is about directing them toward productive outcomes. I disciplined my mind to think strategically under pressure. I disciplined my body to endure hardship without complaint. I disciplined my habits to support my goals automatically. This discipline became the foundation of all my achievements. Here's what most people don't understand about discipline. It is not something you use occasionally when motivation fails. It is something you develop systematically until it becomes automatic. Disciplined thinking produces clear decisions. Disciplined action produces consistent results. Disciplined habits produce inevitable success. But discipline must be built gradually and maintained constantly. But let me ask you this. What areas of your life lack discipline? Where do you act on impulse instead of intention? Where do you react emotionally instead of responding strategically? Where do you hope for the best instead of preparing for success? These are the areas where your power is leaking. These are the places where your potential is being wasted. These are the moments when you are being controlled instead of being in control. Discipline begins with small decisions made consistently over time. It grows through daily choices that align with long-term goals. It becomes powerful through repetition that creates automatic responses. You do not need perfect discipline immediately. You need improving discipline consistently. Most people try to become perfectly disciplined overnight. They set impossible standards. They make dramatic changes. They expect immediate transformation. Then they fail, become discouraged, and abandon the effort entirely. This is not how discipline works. Discipline is built one decision at a time, one choice at a time, one action at a time. Each disciplined choice makes the next disciplined choice easier. Each controlled response makes the next controlled response more natural. Each aligned action makes the next aligned action more automatic. This is how you develop the kind of discipline that reshapes reality. Look at the most successful people in any field. They are not successful because they are naturally disciplined. They are successful because they made themselves disciplined through practice. They trained their minds to think productively. They trained their bodies to perform reliably. They trained their habits to support their goals automatically. This training never ends. Discipline is not a destination you reach. It is a practice you maintain. I maintain discipline during victory and defeat, in comfort and hardship, when surrounded by allies and when betrayed by enemies. The external circumstances changed constantly. The discipline remained constant. This is what made the difference between temporary success and lasting achievement. Your discipline must be stronger than your moods. Your habits must be more reliable than your feelings. Your commitment must be more enduring than your circumstances. Most people have conditional discipline. They are disciplined when they feel like it. They stick to their habits when it is convenient. They maintain their standards when it is easy. This is not discipline. This is preference. True discipline operates independently of feeling. It functions, regardless of convenience. It maintains standards, especially when it is difficult. Here's the truth about discipline. It is the difference between those who control their reality and those who are controlled by it. Disciplined people create their circumstances. Undisciplined people are created by their circumstances. Disciplined people shape their environment. Undisciplined people are shaped by their environment. Disciplined people direct their energy toward chosen outcomes. Undisciplined people scatter their energy in random directions. The choice is simple. The execution is challenging, but the results are inevitable. Start with one area. Choose one habit. Make one disciplined choice every day until it becomes automatic. Then add another, then another. Build your discipline like you would build an army, one soldier at a time, trained to perfection, reliable under pressure, capable of victory. Your mind must follow orders. Your habits must march like soldiers. Your discipline must become the engine that drives your reality toward your chosen destination. Stop making excuses for lack of discipline and start making choices that build it. Stop hoping for motivation and start creating systems that make motivation unnecessary. Discipline is the engine of reality control. Start it, maintain it, use it to drive yourself toward inevitable success. Leadership begins the moment you refuse to fold. Influence follows those who cannot be moved. The world is full of people who want to be led. They are searching for someone stronger than their doubts, more certain than their fears, more committed than their convenience. But they will not follow weakness. They will not trust inconsistency. They will not respect those who bend under pressure. People follow strength. They follow certainty. They follow unwavering commitment to a clear vision. I led armies not because I was the tallest or the loudest or the most charismatic. I led them because they knew I would not retreat when retreat was easy. They knew I would not surrender when surrender was tempting. They knew I would not abandon them when abandonment was convenient. They followed my will because my will was stronger than their fears. Here's what most people don't understand about leadership. It is not about having followers. It is about being worth following. It is not about commanding others. It is about commanding yourself so completely that others want to follow your example. Leadership is self-mastery made visible. Influence is inner strength projected outward. Authority is personal discipline recognized by others. You cannot lead others farther than you have led yourself. You cannot inspire others to heights you have not reached. You cannot command others to standards you do not maintain. But let me ask you this. Where in your life are you being weak-willed? Where are you folding when you should stand firm? Where are you compromising when you should remain committed? Where are you bending when you should be unbreakable? These moments of weakness destroy your leadership potential before it can develop. They teach others that you cannot be counted on when strength is required. Every time you fold under pressure, you lose credibility. Every time you compromise your standards, you lose respect. Every time you abandon your commitments, you lose influence. But every time you stand firm when others would fold, you gain authority. Every time you maintain your standards when others would compromise, you gain followers. Every time you honor your commitments when others would abandon them, you gain power. This is how leadership is built. This is how influence is earned. This is how authority is established. Leadership is not a position you are given. It is a power you develop through consistent demonstration of strength under pressure. The world is constantly testing your resolve. It applies pressure to see if you will bend. It creates difficulties to see if you will quit. It offers compromises to see if you will lower your standards. These are not obstacles to your leadership. These are opportunities to prove your leadership. Every test you pass makes you stronger. Every pressure you resist makes you more credible. Every temptation you overcome makes you more trustworthy. Look at the leaders you respect most. What makes them worthy of respect? Is it their success when things are easy, or their strength when things are difficult? Is it their decisions when everyone agrees, or their convictions when everyone opposes? Real leadership is revealed under pressure. Real strength is demonstrated through adversity. Real influence is earned through consistency when consistency is costly. I maintained my vision of European reorganization when every other leader opposed it. I preserved my commitment to my soldiers when every politician abandoned me. I sustained my belief in my destiny when every circumstance contradicted it. This unwavering will became the foundation of my influence. Your will must be visible to others. Your commitment must be obvious to everyone. Your strength must be undeniable, even to your enemies. This does not mean you never adapt. It means you never abandon your core principles. This does not mean you never change tactics. It means you never change your fundamental commitment to excellence. Flexibility in methods combined with inflexibility in principles creates the kind of strength that others want to follow. Here's the truth about followership. People follow those who provide certainty in an uncertain world. They follow those who offer strength when they feel weak. They follow those who demonstrate the courage they wish they had. Your job as a leader is not to be perfect. Your job is to be reliable. It is not to be flawless. It is to be unbreakable. It is not to have all the answers. It is to maintain unwavering commitment to finding them. People do not follow perfect leaders. They follow persistent leaders. They do not follow those who never fail. They follow those who never quit. They follow will that cannot be broken, commitment that cannot be shaken, and resolve that cannot be moved. Stop trying to lead through position and start leading through strength. Stop seeking authority through title and start earning it through demonstration. Stop demanding respect and start commanding it through unbreakable will. No one follows the weak-willed because weak will produces weak results, and weak results inspire no one. Strengthen your will. Demonstrate your commitment. Prove your resolve. Leadership will follow naturally from the strength others see in you when strength is required. The world does not care why you failed. It only respects results. Learn to speak in victories. Excuses are the language of failure. Explanations are the vocabulary of the defeated. Justifications are the currency of those who achieve nothing worth remembering. The world judges you by what you accomplish, not by what prevented you from accomplishing it. It measures you by your results, not by your reasons. It remembers you for your victories, not for your stories about why you could not win. I did not explain to Europe why France was difficult to govern. I governed it. I did not justify to my enemies why they were hard to defeat. I defeated them. I did not make excuses for why empire building was challenging. I built an empire. The world responded to results, not reasons. Here's what most people don't understand about communication. Every word you speak either builds your credibility or destroys it. Every explanation either strengthens your reputation or weakens it. Every story either increases respect for your power or diminishes it. When you speak in excuses, you train others to expect failure from you. When you speak in outcomes, you train them to expect success. Your language shapes your reality because it shapes how others see you, how they treat you, and what they expect from you. But let me ask you this. When you talk about your goals, do you focus on what you will achieve or what might prevent you from achieving it? When you discuss your progress, do you highlight your advances or your obstacles? When you communicate with others, do you speak in possibilities or problems? The difference between these approaches is the difference between the language of power and the language of powerlessness. People who speak in outcomes attract opportunities. People who speak in excuses attract sympathy. People who speak in victories attract allies. People who speak in problems attract more problems. This is not about lying or pretending. Problems do not exist. This is about choosing to focus on solutions instead of difficulties, results instead of reasons, achievements instead of obstacles. Problems are real, but solutions are more real. Obstacles are temporary, but achievements are permanent. Difficulties are current, but results are lasting. When you must acknowledge problems, acknowledge them briefly, and then focus extensively on how you will solve them. When you must discuss obstacles, mention them quickly, and then elaborate on how you will overcome them. When you must admit difficulties, state them simply, and then detail how you will master them. This is how you maintain credibility while building confidence in your ability to deliver results. I acknowledge the challenges of conquering Europe, but I spent most of my time describing how I would meet those challenges. I admitted the difficulties of governing multiple nations, but I focused on the systems I would create to manage those difficulties. I recognized the obstacles to empire building, but I concentrated on the strategies I would use to overcome those obstacles. This approach attracted allies instead of pity, supporters instead of sympathy, investors instead of excuses. Look at the most successful people you know. Listen to how they communicate. Do they spend more time explaining their problems or describing their solutions? Do they focus more on what went wrong or what they learned? Do they emphasize more what stopped them or what will drive them forward? Successful people speak the language of outcomes because they understand that language creates reality. Your words become your thoughts become your actions become your results become your reputation. This cycle begins with the words you choose to speak about your circumstances, your challenges, and your commitments. Here's the truth about excuses. They may explain your current situation, but they guarantee your future failure. They may provide temporary comfort, but they create permanent limitation. They may preserve your ego, but they destroy your potential. Every excuse you make trains your mind to look for more excuses. Every justification you offer teaches your brain to seek more justifications. Every explanation you give conditions your thinking to find more explanations instead of more solutions. This is how you accidentally program yourself for failure while trying to protect yourself from criticism. But speaking in outcomes programs you for success. It trains your mind to focus on solutions. It conditions your thinking to find ways forward instead of reasons backward. It directs your energy toward achievement instead of toward explaining non-achievement. Stop explaining why things are difficult and start describing how you will make them easier. Stop justifying why progress is slow and start detailing how you will accelerate it. Stop making excuses for why you have not achieved your goals and start declaring how you will achieve them. Replace. I can't because with I will by, replace. The problem is with the solution is, replace. It's difficult because with I will succeed by. This change in language will create a change in thinking, which will create a change in action, which will Create a change in results. The world does not care about your excuses because excuses do not create value. Excuses do not solve problems. Excuses do not build anything worth having. But outcomes create value. Results solve problems. Achievements build legacies. Speak in outcomes. Think in victories. Act in solutions. Let your words predict your success. Instead of explaining your failure, you can't win what you won't declare as yours. Claim your space, then defend it with action. Possession begins with declaration. Victory begins with claiming. Achievement begins with the courage to say, "This belongs to me," before anyone else agrees that it should. Most people wait for permission to claim what they want. They wait for invitation to pursue their goals. They wait for recognition before declaring their ambitions. This is exactly backward. You must claim first. You must declare first. You must stake your claim before the territory becomes crowded with competitors. I claimed France before France chose me. I declared myself emperor before Europe accepted my authority. I staked my claim to European leadership before any nation offered it to me. The claiming came first. The winning came second. The recognition came last. Here's what most people don't understand about claiming. It is not arrogance. It is strategy. It is not presumption. It is positioning. It is not overconfidence. It is necessity. If you do not claim what you want, someone else will claim it. If you do not declare your intentions, others will declare theirs. If you do not stake your claim, competitors will stake theirs. The world belongs to those who claim it first and defend it best. But let me ask you this. What do you want that you have not yet claimed? What territory are you interested in that you have not yet declared yours? What goal are you pursuing that you have not yet announced as inevitable? Every day you delay claiming is a day your competitors advance their claims. Every week you postpone declaring is a week others use to establish their positions. Every month you avoid staking your claim is a month your opportunities diminish. Claiming is not the same as achieving. But achieving is impossible without claiming. You cannot win a battle you refuse to enter. You cannot conquer territory you will not claim. You cannot achieve goals you dare not declare. Claiming creates commitment. Declaration creates accountability. Staking your claim creates pressure that drives performance. When you claim something publicly, you create external pressure to achieve it. When you declare your intentions openly, you generate expectation that demands fulfillment. When you stake your claim visibly, you establish reputation that requires protection. This pressure is not punishment. It is power. It is the force that transforms intention into action, plans into results, dreams into reality. I claimed the title of emperor not because I had earned it, but because claiming it gave me the motivation to earn it. I declared my intention to conquer Europe not because I was ready, but because declaring it made readiness necessary. The claim created the commitment. The commitment created the action. The action created the result. Look at every great achievement in history. The achievement was preceded by someone claiming it was possible, declaring it would happen, and staking their reputation on making it real. The Wright brothers claimed that human flight was achievable before they achieved it. Edison declared that electric lighting was practical before he made it practical. Kennedy announced that America would reach the moon before America had the technology to get there. The claiming came first. The achieving followed. But claiming requires courage. It requires the willingness to be wrong publicly. It requires the strength to face criticism from those who believe your claims are impossible. Most people avoid claiming because they fear looking foolish if they fail. They prefer to pursue their goals quietly so that failure will be private. This is a mistake. Private failure teaches you nothing about handling pressure. Quiet pursuit generates no external support. Secret goals create no accountability, but public claiming generates pressure that drives performance. Open declaration attracts allies who want to help you succeed. Visible goals create accountability that prevents abandonment. Here's the truth about claiming. It is not about guaranteeing success. It is about maximizing the probability of success by creating conditions that make success necessary for your reputation. When you claim something publicly, failure becomes expensive. When you declare something openly, giving up becomes costly. When you stake your claim visibly, retreat becomes damaging. This cost creates motivation that privacy cannot provide. This pressure generates performance that comfort cannot produce. Stop pursuing your goals in secret and start claiming them publicly. Stop hiding your ambitions and start declaring them openly. Stop protecting yourself from the embarrassment of failure and start creating the pressure that prevents failure. Claim your space in the world. Declare your intentions to the world. Stake your claim on the future you intend to create. Then defend that claim with relentless action until claiming becomes reality. You cannot conquer what you will not claim. You cannot achieve what you dare not declare. You cannot win what you refuse to pursue publicly. Claim first, achieve second. Let the world adjust to your new reality. The territory you claim today becomes the empire you build tomorrow. Be hard on your mind. Be strict with your focus. Then when chaos comes, you'll be ready. The greatest mercy you can show your enemies is to be ruthless with yourself first. The greatest kindness you can offer the world is to be merciless with your own weaknesses before they become public failures. Most people have this backward. They are gentle with themselves and harsh with circumstances. They excuse their own mistakes while condemning external difficulties. They tolerate their own weaknesses while demanding perfection from the world. This approach guarantees failure when failure matters most. I was ruthless with my own preparation so I could be decisive in battle. I was unforgiving with my own training so I could be confident under pressure. I was merciless with my own standards so I could be superior to my opponents. The discipline I imposed on myself in private became the advantage I wielded in public. Here's what most people don't understand about self-discipline. It is not self-punishment. It is self-preparation. It is not cruelty toward yourself. It is kindness toward your future self. Every moment of ruthless self-discipline today creates a moment of easy victory tomorrow. Every act of strict self-control now produces an act of natural excellence. Later, you are either disciplining yourself or you are being disciplined by circumstances. You are either training yourself or you are being trained by failure. You are either preparing yourself or you are being surprised by challenges. The choice is always yours. But the consequences are always real. But let me ask you this. Where are you being too gentle with yourself? Where are you accepting mediocre performance that will create future problems? Where are you tolerating weaknesses that will become liabilities? When pressure increases, these are the areas where ruthless self-discipline is most needed. These are the places where mercy toward yourself now creates cruelty toward yourself later. Be ruthless with your thoughts. Do not allow your mind to wander toward negativity, doubt, or defeat. Force it to focus on solutions, possibilities, and victory. Train it to see obstacles as opportunities and setbacks as setups for comebacks. Be strict with your habits. Do not allow yourself to skip workouts because you are tired. Do not permit yourself to eat poorly because you are busy. Do not excuse yourself from learning because you are comfortable. Be merciless with your standards. Do not lower your expectations because improvement is difficult. Do not reduce your goals because progress is slow. Do not compromise your vision because others cannot see it. This ruthlessness with yourself is not about perfection. It is about preparation. You are not trying to become perfect. You are trying to become ready for opportunities that will test your preparation, ready for challenges that will reveal your character, ready for moments when your previous training determines your current performance. I trained myself to think clearly under pressure so that when battles became chaotic, my mind remained calm. I conditioned myself to act decisively when information was incomplete, so that when crises required immediate response, I could respond immediately. I prepared myself to endure hardship without complaint, so that when campaigns became difficult, I could lead others through difficulties they had never faced. This preparation was not comfortable, but it made everything else easier. Look at the most successful people in any field. They are not successful because they face easier challenges. They are successful because they prepare harder for the challenges they face. They are ruthless with their training so they can be relaxed during performance. They are strict with their preparation so they can be fluid during execution. They are merciless with their practice so they can be natural during competition. The harder you are on yourself in private, the easier everything becomes in public. The more demanding you are with yourself during preparation, the more confident you become during performance. This is not about being harsh or cruel or punishing toward yourself. This is about being honest about what level of preparation your goals require, and then meeting that requirement without excuse or compromise. Your future success is being determined by your current self-discipline. Your eventual victory is being created by your present ruthlessness with yourself. Here's the truth about mercy and ruthlessness. Being too merciful with yourself now creates the need to be ruthless with yourself later under worse circumstances. Being appropriately ruthless with yourself now creates the possibility of being merciful with yourself later under better circumstances. Choose your ruthlessness. Choose when to apply it. Choose how to direct it. Apply it to yourself in private, so you can be generous with others in public. Direct it toward your weaknesses now so you can display your strengths later. Use it during preparation so you can enjoy performance. Be hard on your mind so your mind can be reliable under pressure. Be strict with your focus so your attention can be sharp when sharpness matters. Be ruthless with your preparation so your execution can be effortless. When chaos comes, and it will come, you'll be ready because you made yourself ready when readiness was still a choice instead of a necessity. The mercy you show your future self begins with the ruthlessness you show your current self. The world you experience is your construction. Tear down what's weak, reinforce what's strong, command your world, or be commanded. Reality is not something that happens to you. Reality is something you create through your choices, your actions, your beliefs, and your persistent focus on specific outcomes. Most people believe they are living in a reality that was built by others, governed by forces beyond their control, shaped by circumstances they cannot influence. This is the greatest lie ever told, and believing it is the greatest mistake you can make. I did not live in the reality of 18th century Europe. I built the reality of Napoleonic Europe. I did not accept the world as it was handed to me. I reshaped it according to my vision of what it could become. The map of Europe before my rise was not the same as the map of Europe during my reign. The political structures, the military strategies, the very concept of what was possible, all of it changed because I refused to accept existing reality as permanent. You have the same power. You have the same opportunity. You have the same responsibility to build your reality instead of just living in it. Here's what most people don't understand about reality construction. It is not optional. You are either consciously building your reality or unconsciously accepting someone else's reality. You are either actively shaping your world or passively being shaped by it. There is no neutral position. There is no middle ground. There is no option to simply exist without influence. You are always building. The question is whether you are building consciously or unconsciously, strategically or randomly, with purpose or by accident. But let me ask you this. What reality are you building right now? What world are you creating through your daily choices? What future are you constructing through your current actions? Look around you. Everything you see is the result of decisions you made in the past. Your relationships are the reality you built through your communication choices. Your career is the reality you built through your professional choices. Your health is the reality you built through your lifestyle choices. Your current reality is not your destiny. It is your starting point for building your next reality. Every thought you think is a building block. Every decision you make is a construction choice. Every action you take is a building process. Every habit you maintain is a structural element. You are the architect of your experience. You are the contractor of your circumstances. You are the builder of your world. But building requires vision. You must see what you want to build before you can build it. You must design your desired reality before you can construct it. You must plan your intended world before you can create it. Most people build their reality accidentally. They make decisions without considering the cumulative effect. They take actions without thinking about the long-term consequences. They develop habits without evaluating their contribution to their desired outcome. This approach creates random results, sometimes good, sometimes bad, always unpredictable, but conscious reality construction creates predictable results. When you design your choices to support your vision, when you align your actions with your goals, when you direct your habits toward your desired outcomes, you create the reality you intended instead of accepting the reality that happened. Designed every military campaign to support my vision of European reorganization. I aligned every political decision with my goal of French dominance. I directed every diplomatic effort toward my intended outcome of imperial control. This conscious construction created the reality I envisioned instead of accepting the reality I inherited. Look at the reality you want to build. What does it look like? How does it function? What elements must be present? What elements must be absent? Now look at your current choices. Are they building that reality or building something else? Are they moving you toward your vision or away from it? Are they constructing what you want or what you fear? Reality construction requires both destruction and creation. You must tear down the elements of your current reality that oppose your vision while simultaneously building the elements that support it. Tear down relationships that drain your energy while building relationships that fuel your growth. Destroy habits that limit your potential while creating habits that expand it. Eliminate thoughts that weaken your confidence while reinforcing thoughts that strengthen it. This is not about destroying everything and starting over. This is about strategic renovation of your current reality to align it with your intended reality. Here's the truth about reality. It is always under construction. It is never finished. It is never permanent. It is always changing in response to the forces applied to it. The question is not whether your reality will change. The question is whether you will direct that change or simply react to it. Most reality. Change happens slowly and unconsciously. People drift into new circumstances without realizing how their choices created those circumstances. They adapt to new conditions without understanding how their decisions produced those conditions. But conscious reality construction happens deliberately and strategically. You decide what changes need to happen. You make the choices that create those changes. You monitor the results and adjust your approach accordingly. You become the conscious creator of your world instead of the unconscious victim of circumstances. Stop living in reality and start building it. Stop accepting your world and start commanding it. Stop being shaped by your circumstances and start shaping them. The reality you build today becomes the world you live in tomorrow. Build wisely. Build strategically. Build relentlessly. You already have what it takes. Now, go prove it.